Hey, chismosas.
Welcome to the Tell Me Chisme podcast with Marty and Kim. Hey guys, welcome to our second podcast episode.
By the time you're seeing this, Valentine's Day has already passed. How was it?
But we're still in the Valentine's Day spirit because it's still February
Yeah.
with our little pink and red sweaters we have going on.
Yeah, we didn't. Valentine's Day was yesterday for us.
Yeah.
And we did not do very much. You want to talk about what we did?
We actually didn't do anything at all. We ended up late at night. Nothing during the day, Valentine's Day. I gave Kim a little like Valentine's Day gift, and then my mom did give me flowers the day before on the 13th. And I brought them to our apartment. But yesterday night, all we did was went to Social Tap. We just had a couple drinks, and then I got a pizza. And I don't know, did you get any food? You didn't get any food?
Yeah, I got a pizza.
Okay, we both
My
got
thing
pizzas.
is, I did not even think we were going to do anything for Valentine's Day at all. Funny enough, there was this restaurant that did a super smart promotion. From 5 to 10 p.m., they were letting women eat for free. 5 to 10 p.m., that's crazy. Imagine it's just like a bunch of group of girls just going and they're just eating
I mean,
for
that's
free.
a good business. That's a good
Heck
business to
yeah,
get
but at the
people
same
into
time, I'm like,
your
how
business.
are they even profiting?
I
I don't know, but they're for the girlies and we love them.
Well, they probably figured they're with their boyfriends.
And they're going to save money but also spend
Yes.
here. So,
Yeah.
so smart, right?
Yeah.
And of course, we don't have Valentine's or boyfriends.
My mom gave me flowers, so technically my mom was my
And
Valentine.
guess what? My sis was my Valentine because she gave me a gift. So
Yeah, so technically we did have Valentine's Days.
Yup, exactly.
Yeah.
But today I thought it would be so fun to talk about. In the spirit of love, we're haters sometimes. So
Certified hater.
we are certified haters. So we're gonna talk today about our types, icks that guys give us,
Gosh.
the worst dates we've been on, and what not to do when you're going on a date. Okay, so
Which I feel like also plays into the icks.
for sure.
So those will be kind of tied. We'll try to kind of keep them
For sure.
differentiated.
So my thing is, I think by now, because the amount of times we talk about guys and like dating apps and stuff like that, I feel like we semi know each other's type.
Kind of.
Ick.
Kind of.
I
I feel like
ish.
mine is very more obvious than Kim's.
For sure. And I'll
is.
tell you why. Because I feel like she has like a set like characteristics that she hopes to get from a guy. Rather compared
Emphasis on the hopes.
to hopes. And they're not even like big standards. I feel like it's the bare
No.
minimum.
Yeah.
But for me, it's because I feel like I don't have a type. Maybe as far as like personality, I hope he has. I'm kind of like everyone has similar
Yeah.
ones. For me, it's more so like how they look, what they do. Like it's a lot more like, vague. Like there's a bigger thing.
Yeah.
So, anyways, what would you say my type is?
Okay, so I say we joke around all the time that Kim is a social justice warrior.
Oh gosh.
So Kim also needs a social justice warrior, but I'm not gonna lie. I'm like low key. I feel like the more oppressed they are, the more type.
Literally.
If they're oppressed,
I joke around, but
That's
not.
Kim's type.
I'm not joking. I tell Madi my type Hassan Piker. So if you're seeing this is me shooting my shot. Okay. So that's essentially my type. She mentioned how she's not even like saying anything about looks. Nothing.
yeah.
Just needs to be a social justice warrior, which apparently is really difficult for guys. But Madi over here, first of all, she's religious. I always ask her, would you need a guy to be the same like religion as you are? She's Catholic. She's kind of like, I'd be open to other
Yeah,
ones.
like I wouldn't convert to other religions necessarily, but I'd want them to believe in God.
Yeah.
at the very
she couldn't date
least-
a guy like me, essentially, which is kind of like more agnostic.
Like if they were like, you know what, I'm willing to give it a shot, then I think I'd be willing to give it a shot and stuff.
Yeah.
But like the
If
thing is,
they're
I
open.
want to have children. I want to raise them like to be, at the very least, like spiritual, believe in God. You know, maybe like I'm not in church every single Sunday, but you know, somebody that believes in God has. I just think that helps. I think that adds value to a person, helps kind of shift some kind of like way of thinking. Obviously, I'm not the most religious person, but like I said, I think it's also important. It'd make things easier in a relationship to also be with someone kind of similar values.
That makes sense. Not only that, her type, we always joke about this. I don't know what it is. Is it okay if I talk about dating apps?
Yeah.
Okay, for some reason, she always gets matched with guys that happen to go into engineering. Like, somehow, like, that is what she gets matched with.
Okay.
So I feel like, for the most part, you've had okay luck with engineers. Like, to me, it usually seems like they're more responsible. They have, like, a bigger plan. Like, it seems like
Okay.
they're, you know, they have something going on for them rather than just like nothing and has never studied. Like,
allegedly,
like,
yeah.
We would love to have an educated man. I'll say that for sure. I don't think I could ever date someone.
Educated doesn't have to be necessarily like a bachelor's or anything
correct,
like that. Yes.
Correct. Very important distinction.
It can be trade school. It can be something, or not even that too. Like if I were to come across a man who just had no like formal education, but he was very ambitious, hardworking, and that's the thing, ambitious and a plan.
Yeah.
A plan and a way to get there. Because I'm like, I can be like, well,
it's
I want
an intelligent man is what we're saying.
Yeah, like somebody who has a plan and knows the steps to get there. Because I'm like, ambition can get you very far. You might not have the schooling, the requirements to do something, but I'm like, if you know how to get there and you have the ambition for it, then like, I feel like your, what do you call it? Your possibilities are endless.
So hopefully that answered what our type was. Maybe not. What about like
looks
as far as looks? Yeah, because I feel like they always want to say women are shallow and we want all this, but it's
so are men. So why can't women be?
Ooh, I guess there's only a problem when we do it. So
yeah,
you as far as like looks, where like it'd be nice if you had this, but it's not like a unless you think it's a requirement.
Okay, the one thing that everyone makes fun of me, that Dale and Olivia always make fun of me.
Maybe I don't know
men. It's certain thing, a characteristic that they have. Similar in that thing. Oh. It's in that same category.
I feel like I don't know this, guys. Mind you, that Dahlia and Olivia are cousins.
Yeah. Dude. They always make fun of me that I'm into peludos. They're like chest hair.
Yeah, that is your type.
I like me. I can't help it. I like me a hairy man.
She does love herself a hairy man. Yep.
So I think that's, like I said, they don't need a full on. Can we talk about the beard thing that we were talking about earlier?
God, yeah, go ahead.
Oh my gosh. So... Oh my God, I'm about to expose myself here real quick. You know how women are like, oh, I need me a man with a beard. Be careful what you wish for. I also have a story about that I might get into later. Okay. Yeah, be careful what you wish for, because not all beards are made the same. Some beards are out here giving, oh, how do I say it? Basically,
they're not attached.
No, not even they're attached. It's kind of like a pilgrim beard where it doesn't come up as high as most do. So it's just like at the very bottom. And I'm not going to lie, it's giving Thanksgiving pilgrim when I see that. I'm like,
not the vibe.
Yeah, I'm like, you just need a pilgrim hat. And like,
not only that, there's certain guys that, okay, this is just called the goatee, right? When it's just this?
Yeah, I think so.
Sometimes it's giving like just pubes when they just leave this and the hairs are really long. Or if they're just like curly, but it's just here, it just looks bushy and it doesn't fit.
And not just that too, a man can have a great connecting beard, but if they don't keep it trimmed, might as well have a bush on your face. That's not cute either.
It's not working.
And at that point too, like if you're making out with the girl, you're gonna give her like a rug burn with that beard.
Literally,
like, you're gonna give her a
rash.
Mustache
is a different story for me. I don't know if I would like a full stash, but like a little.
I like a stash.
Like a full grown.
Yeah, a full. Like a.
That's her type apparently. I want to be able to feel your lip. That's what I want to feel. I don't want to get itchy.
That's if you get lucky with them having a lip.
That's true.
Some guys out here don't have an upper lip either. That is true.
What's funny is like, not to say all Latinos look the same, especially Mexicans, because we're Mexican.
Yeah.
Her type is for sure Latino. She would like preferably like to
Latino passing. They can be Middle Eastern. If they got beard, they meet all my criteria. Exactly. They're Brazilian.
I would like to say I don't have a type as far as that. Like, I feel like so far every guy I've talked to that I actually consider like somewhat serious, they've all been from different ethnicities. Yeah. Like I will say I have never talked to a like full on like white guy, but let's just say it's because I'm probably not their type, so it's fine.
Same.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's not because I haven't tried. It's just, I say it's God protecting.
Shut the fuck up. End that there. Full stop. And protecting you from what, an ugly man?
I'm just kidding. No. Like I said, I've tried talking to them, but it just doesn't work out. Like, they've canceled on me, and I'm not going to lie. If you were disrespectful my time, I'm not going to give you another chance. Yeah, so, it, like, fair. That's happened. And, like, that, or, like, we're talking and they just stop replying. I'm like, okay, whatever. You know, I'm not gonna like lose sleep over it. So it just, like I said, it's not because I haven't tried talking to a white guy. It just hasn't worked out. I guess I haven't come across the right one. I almost said the white one.
Hey, are you right one? Dude, my thing is like, not even just ethnicity. All the guys I've talked to, they're not even like built the same height. Age usually have been around the same, but it's because like all these guys I talked to somewhat seriously happened when I was like fresh out of high school. It was like my first or second year in college. After that, like I haven't seriously tried talking to a guy in like while. But they've all looked fairly different. So I guess for my type, it's a lot more vague compared to Mari, which you would think would be easier, but no.
Oh, and that's the thing too. Like I said, you know what? Let me add to my type, like a cultured man is my preference. Obviously, if a man is, they're like, fuck, I'm adopted, my family doesn't do anything, I'm an only child, and they're like, I feel really I have no culture, then that's understandable. But preferably like a bilingual king that comes from a minority family, regardless of what minority that is.
I think it's also funny, like, I think a lot of Mexicans on TikTok, like the women, will go for a white man. People will be shocked, but it's like that guy will be very accepting and also cultured in his own way that he is so in tune with Mexican culture. I'm like,
and not just that too, they kind of absorb it.
Yeah.
So yeah, if I dated somebody like that, that's the thing too. Like they either have to be more cultured than me, and then I'm like, okay, cool, like
right, you know, like, and not even just Mexican culture. I would love to adapt to another culture.
Yeah, so I'm like, that'd be cool. Like I get to like, you know, like play two parts of cultures and stuff, or like like you said, like they come into the Mexican culture and kind of absorb that.
Now on the other side of things, what are things that guys do that give you icks, bro?
Poster dogs.
Oh, guys, when she means dog, she means them fucking toes. So
no one wants to see a man's
I have told Mari this. If you are ever questioning if you're actually into a guy, it has worked for me. It worked for my last relationship, and it helped me get over this guy that I had a little crush on. Just envision what their feet look like. I promise you it'll tell you if you have a crush on them or not. If you're thinking, okay, their feet could be ugly, but they're really sweet, you're probably into them. If you're thinking the thought of looking at their feet would gross me, you're not that into him. I promise you. You're not into him.
Not just that. Okay,
but that's not even
sandals.
Really an ick. What can they do about their feet?
Bleach jeans, skinny jeans. On almost all my prompts, I say my biggest fear is men in skinny jeans, men in flip flops, men in skinny jeans.
Yeah, leave that in the past decade. We don't need that now.
Yeah, no skinny jeans.
I think the best thing you could do as a guy to level up is if you're constantly wearing skinny jeans. I promise you, it appeals to almost no women. I'm sorry, unless you're like in Spain, maybe. Like a skinny jean?
Oh, you're all of Europe, yeah.
Yeah. The biggest thing you can do to level up is go more of like a baggy jean or a straight jean. I promise you. Not only that, it just looks better on guys because most guys don't have like hips, obviously, compared to like women. So it just suits you so much better. Just saying. But.
And not just that too, like social media now, everything is so accessible. You can look up, like I see guys like when they're like, hey guys, what kind of haircut looks good on me or whatever. As long as you see somebody that looks somewhat like you, that have the same head shape, same like features, you're like, you know what, like this guy looks good, like that might look pretty good on me.
I pride myself. I feel like I have an eye for it. Like every guy friend I've had, if they're like, I don't know what to do, or let's just say they're not even really asking for my opinion, I will tell them, you know what would look amazing on you? This haircut. Or I even did this with my ex. Like he always got like the same haircut, and I told him, I was like, I feel like this would look really good on you. And ever since I told him that, that's what he's gotten. And he still gets that now. Say with my friends, I'd be like, you'd look good with the buzz cut, you'd look good with the mullet, with the taper, like whatever. I'm like, I feel like I do have a pretty good eye for it. Or even like colors that look good on people.
Yeah. And another thing too is like, maybe if your girlfriend tells you don't look good in something, maybe they should listen to the girlfriends.
Yeah, and vice versa. I'm not gonna lie. Even when I was with my boyfriend, like when he would tell me that color looks kind of funky on you, I would never get offended because I'm like, well, you're right. We're gonna see things differently. So to some extent, I would like take some opinions, you know. You're not gonna have to listen to your girlfriend. Like she's not gonna control you.
Then there's me in the talking stage. Like, are you planning on growing out a beard? Or like, have you ever done this to your hair? And I'm like, damn, why don't they want me? And I'm like, here I am trying to change them, like, in the talking stage.
We can't even talk too much shit because, mind you guys, like, our own dad doesn't even dress that good. My mom literally picks his clothes whenever they're gonna go out to an event. She lays it out and she's like, wear this. And he's like, okay. Like, is that
my dream man is a moldable man that I can make into my dream man.
No, my dream man is one that already has style, like, even probably better style than me. Because let's be honest, I think an ick is when you're, like, for example, like, I'm 22, you're 27. I think that's a pretty good age till you're kind of already starting to develop your own style. If you're at this age, and like, not to say that you don't have your set amount of style yet, but if you just like don't know, for example, like what shirts look good on you, if you're wearing like a fitted shirt and it just looks off, that's gonna throw me off. Like,
also buy shirts your own size. When gym bros are wearing shirts that are like 2-3 sizes too like fit, at this point share it with your girlfriend.
Yeah, like, y'all got the same closet, it's fine.
Yeah,
I don't know, that's a bit of an ick to me that you don't know how to dress yourself yet. I don't even mean just like it doesn't even have to be expensive. Thrifting,
oh yeah,
you could get away with a lot of it.
Thrifting is cool now, you know, everyone does it.
It's only cool if you're rich, apparently. If you're poor, forget about it.
Yeah. At that point, it's out of necessity.
Yeah. Real icks, though, that me and Mari talk about is, like, when they're...
The burping. You were going to say that.
Oh, well, this is just me.
In general.
This is an ick for me in general. I, like, don't like any, like bodily fluid, or when people just, like, burp or fart around me. I think that's gross. Ask her. I get grossed. To this day, she is my sister. She's never heard me fart in my life. Yeah. Because I just don't do that. That grosses me out so bad. I'm like, I have to do it in the right place, aka the bathroom. Like, I'm not going to do that. Yeah. So when a guy just does that, like, mind you guys, I had a crush on this guy, right? And it kind of had went away for different reasons I'm not going to get into. But then the reason that finally, like, solidified it that I was not into him, he just, like, belched so fucking loud and didn't even say excuse me. And I was like, that was so freaking disgusting. I'm like, that is the biggest ick. Like, maybe once you're in a relationship with someone and you do that comfortably, even then that's kind of pushing it for me. But for me, that's a really big ick. It just is really gross. But honestly, the biggest ick too is when, like, a guy's not, like, what's another word for polish? Like, let's say he's, like,
hygienic.
Hygienic. If he's not hygienic.
Oh God.
Like, there's guys that you don't have to wear cologne. My dad doesn't wear cologne, but he always has deodorant. He smells.
It's preferred. It's preferred.
Yeah, his hands aren't usually crusty. Like, some guys have really dirty fingernails. They don't fucking trim them. They have, like, a cocaine nail.
Yeah. You gotta tell them what the cocaine nail is if they don't know.
Well, it's just when you have, like, a really long fingernail, usually, like, the pinky or the index finger, and that's what people used to, do stuff. Yeah. But yeah, that's definitely an ick. But I don't know. As far as, like, I feel like haircut doesn't have to do so much with ick or hygienic. Because if anything, for me, I personally kind of like a guy with more hair, like a head full of hair.
And I don't mind a man with long hair.
Yeah, but I wouldn't mind a guy bald, to be honest. If you got a face card,
oh yeah,
I wouldn't mind a bald guy either.
You know what? And it helps too if they got some facial hair. And that's for the most part. For the most part, I feel like if they're bald, they tend to, like, make up for it in other areas.
I know.
So
my thing is, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's so hard for me because I really don't have a type. Like, you can have a baby face, clean shaven face. You can have a 5 o'clock shadow, full on beard. Like, I'm open to a lot.
What's your cutoff age?
Okay, youngest and oldest?
Yeah.
Well, I tell her all the time, I feel like even being at 22, I look back at how I was even at 19, which was not that long ago, but it feels like it. I'm like, I'm so much more different, and I've experienced such different things that for me, even talking to a 19-year-old would feel illegal because I'm like, you were just 18. Like, you just freshly turned 19. It feels illegal. So I feel like the age I am now, the youngest I would go, 20. Oldest, I've always jokingly said, like, 30. And I would date older. But if I'm being serious, you don't have a lot in common with someone who's 30 years old. Most likely, they probably already have, like, their career settled down. They have more experiences than me right now. So it's like, I would definitely feel... I don't just.
And there's always obviously exceptions to everything. Like, for example, if you're one that you're like, I got set into my career very like early on, or you're like, we both don't want kids. You're like, so the kid thing isn't an issue. Like, if all that thing lines up for them, then I think a big age gap that would work out for them, Yeah. And like you said, if they're, I know some people obviously are a little more mature and stuff earlier on and stuff. So like different things. Are considered.
I feel like that age gap only applies to us right now because of our age. But the thing is, you also have to take into consideration when a person, like, meets the other person. Like, let's say right now I'm 30 years old, and I meet a guy and he's 60, but I find him attractive. But he met me when I was 30, so that suddenly that age gap doesn't seem as extreme because he met me when I was technically already mature. Right? I feel like that makes a difference. That's probably an unpopular opinion. Some people, they would probably think like that's still gross. To each their own. I'm not saying I would date someone 30 years older than me, but also never say never.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think for me, my youngest, I'm 27. I think 25.
Yeah.
I need your brain to be close to being developed.
First, my brain's not even freaking developed. Yeah, I could change my opinion by the time I'm 25.
Yeah. So I think your brain needs to be either close to being fully developed or fully developed. And at that point, a 25-year-old, that was like pushing it. Like 25, you got to be a mature, like you're having a direction in life. I'm
hoping that just because your brain's fully developed, that you're even mature. There's 30-year-old guys that are still fucking immature.
Like age age doesn't necessarily match up with maturity.
It's not the end all be all.
Yeah, and also I think oldest, I'm 27. I think about 32 because I do want kids.
I was guessing like 35.
Like 32. Like I said, obviously, if my guy's 35 and he looks good for his age and everything, even though 35 is still very young, I feel like that's the thing though. I also don't want my kids to have like an old dad.
Would you date if you found out a guy right now that was like 30 or something you were talking to already had a kid? Would you give him a chance, or you're like, I can't do it?
He'd have to be my perfect man, almost meet more than my expectations. Only because like my mom always told us, she was like, at the very end of the day, their kids are going to be the priority. Until basically they're 18, obviously they're still going to be their kids. But like once they're like, until then, like they're going to be their number one priority. They're like, and you always have to be okay with them, you being number two.
And my mom has firsthand experience, but that's a topic for a different day.
So then I'm like, okay, I'm still young, single. I have my career, all this stuff, you know, that I'm like.
And me, I'm like still in the work. So it's much
so I'm
different
like, okay, I'm like, if I don't have any kids, the chances are I was like, I can still find somebody that doesn't have kids. Now, if I'm like 35, still single, I might have to change that, you know, be like.
Standards might have to.
Yeah, like, hey,
change.
Realistically, unless they didn't want kids, because at that point, like, if they'll be like 35 plus 40 or whatever. I'm like, if they didn't have kids at this point, they probably don't want any.
Yeah.
And if they did want to have kids, they probably already had them and they still have them.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, if I could, I would, and that's the thing, like, there are people out there that don't mind being somebody that has, like, a woman that has kids, and that's great, you know, but I'm like, if I can avoid it, I'll try to. But like I said, if my dream man has a child, but like he meets all my criteria, guess I'm going to be a baby mama for a while and a stepmom.
You know what's a real ick I have, and I think this is probably going to be for me personally, because what I'm about to say, I feel like some girls are going to be like, no, like, I love that. To each their own.
Okay.
You tell me what you think. Personally, for me, when I say I want a guy to have manners, I think a man should be sweet and, like, just respectful to all women, not just women they're attracted to. When I hear girls talk about, like, on social media when they're like, no, like, I don't even want my man to open the door for another woman. Like, I don't. Oh, yeah. I think that's weird. Just for me, I think that's weird. I would, if anything, I would feel more comfortable knowing that this guy's doing it because out of pure intentions rather because he only finds them good looking.
No, I agree.
But that's just me. I know some other girls are like, no, and that's like, to me, that speaks more about, like, their issues and trauma. For me, it's like, you have to be able to trust your boyfriend enough.
Yeah, at that point, I think the girls will probably have some little insecurity that they probably just haven't realized that they have.
Exactly. So essentially, my ick is if a guy's only sweet to women that they're attracted to. Even if they're never going to get at them, but just, like, even, like, with friends, you see that happen a lot more with girls. Like, you'll see girls talk about how, like, I'm friends with whatever guy, like, I think we could be friends, rather than for guys. Guys will sometimes be friends with girls that they only find pretty because they think they might have a chance.
Yeah, obviously, you know, exceptions and stuff are there, but
yeah, so that's one of my biggest icks. I will say another ick for me is that I know some guys will come from broken families, they have no control over that, but I would prefer them to have a closer relationship to their family, because I feel like if they're not,
that's another thing, like, of my type too, like equality.
Yeah, I will say the reason why I say it's an ick is because if they have the opportunity to make a good connection with their family, but they choose not to, like, if they would prefer to be disconnected, that would be like, why though? Because I'm like, you have them, especially if you guys are close in age, whatever. It's like, it is more of an ick to me, because it's like, you have the opportunity to be good with them if you guys are on good terms, but they choose not to. Like, I don't know if I could do that.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Another ick for me, I don't care if a guy is not black and says the N-word.
Oh, yeah.
That's a big fucking ick, and I'll tell you why. Because we're Mexican, and the Mexican community, that is too normalized, and I hate it.
The whole Latino community, let's be honest.
That is true. I mean, like, I can only speak for Mexicans because those are the only Latinos I really know and I'm around. But yeah, bro, that is the biggest ick. First of all, disrespectful. Second of all, it makes you sound uneducated as fuck. Like, don't do that.
Yeah.
And it's the worst when you call them out for it and they're like, what? Like, they don't know what they did was wrong. It's like, that, I can't do that. Like, I'm immediately, you're not even an option no more.
Yeah. Okay, so other than the icks and the taste and all that, and our thing in men, dates.
Do you have a bad date story? I have one that specifically happened on Valentine's Day, which makes it that much worse.
I mean, the more recent one.
I'll tell mine first.
Okay,
so I'll say this. I haven't gone on a lot of dates in my life. Like, I haven't had a guy full on be like, do you want to go out this day and I have this planned? Like, respectfully, in my last relationship, there was never a day that he's like, get ready, we're going to go do this. I've never been on a date.
Okay.
But when I was in high school, I was maybe a junior, I think. So what would I have been, like 17, 16, probably. Okay. And I was pretty good friends with this guy that happened to be siblings with another one of my friends. But me and her were never that close, but we were just, like, good friends, right? And I did think he was cute or whatever, but, like, we just talked like friends normal. I didn't expect it to go anywhere. And Valentine's Day was coming around, and he asked me, like, what are you doing? And I was like, well, nothing, you know? And he's like, oh, we should go out to eat. And I'm like, okay, like, that would be cool. Like, I feel good because this isn't just, like, a random stranger that's inviting me to a date. He's already a friend, and it's established, so I'm like, it's not as bad, right? Failed to mention, he's a year younger than me. But at the time, obviously, we're in high school, so that makes sense. It's fine. And he's trying to justify it. Anyways, he invites me out on this date. I'm like, bet. So we decided to go to this, like, it's kind of a Mexican restaurant. Not really. They serve pretty good food and, like, burgers. So I'm like, why not? Still casual-ish because it's not a full-blown date. So he invites me to go, and I'm like, bet.
Plus, you're also in high school.
Yeah, I'm in high school, girl. I ain't got money like that. But then he goes, can you pick me up? And I go, okay, makes sense. Because I failed to mention this. We live like a block or two away from each other.
Okay.
So I'm like, I'm gonna let it slide. I don't know for what reason. I didn't ask, but I said, okay, yeah, I'll pick you up. So I pick him up. We go to this day. You know, we're going good. We're eating. We have a good time. Like, we really do. We're laughing it up or whatever. And when it comes time to pay, he's like, oh my God, like, I forgot my wallet.
Oh my gosh.
And I didn't want
This sounds like the most cliche story ever.
Well, I wish I could make it up. The thing is, I probably got fucking played, and I just was too sweet to realize it at the time. But I was just like, I don't want to make him feel bad. So I was just like, okay, that's fine. Like, I'll pay for it. And so I paid for it. We left, and he was just like,
you still had to drive him home.
Well, the thing is, we didn't even go right home after. Like, we went out, we parked somewhere. He tried making a move, and I was kind of like, no.
Oh my gosh.
And then I had to drop him off, and it wasn't until I was telling my friend this story what happened, and she's like, dude, you're so dumb. Like, there's no way that happened by coincidence. Like, she's like, that was for sure planned, that he just essentially wanted to go out, probably be with the pretty girl, and make it seem like he was with a girl on Valentine's Day, but, like, just wanted a free meal. So I don't even know if you consider that a date or what, but that was one. Can I share another one super quick?
Oh my gosh. No, I'm going.
Okay.
Now. That was a scam, not a date.
Fuck you.
My bad date. First of all, I had driven here only because this guy offered to meet me here in my where I live, and I was like, you know what? I was like, I don't really want to go out here. I was like, I've never been to your city. I was like, it's nearby. We can meet in the middle or like meet in the city. And I'm like, I was like, you're from there? I was like, that's your hometown? Like, I'd like to explore or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, plus, I was like, I got my credit card points. I was like, I don't mind making a trip out of it. I'm like, worst case scenario, it's a bad date. I got
and one thing about her, she'll travel for a date.
So I'm like, I'll go. I'm like, okay, way to call me out. So
anyways,
I'm like, you know what? I was like, I'll make a trip out of it, like a little self.
Suddenly, me picking up the guy doesn't sound as bad, right, guys? A block away.
So
okay.
Then I go and I'm like, you know, I'm enjoying it. I'm like having I get myself a little coffee before the date. Okay. I was like, I'll be ready by 5:00. She's like, okay, great. 5 rolls around and stuff, and then I'm like, okay, he's taking a while to reply. But I'm like, he had already told me he normally like is bad with timing, like getting like being on time to things. And he was like, yeah, he's like, I'm really bad at it. I'm trying to work on it this year. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. He's aware of it. So then I'm like, okay, I was like, maybe he's just like running behind or whatever. And I was like staying downtown. So then I'm like, oh, hey, like, let me know whenever you're ready. I was like, I'm free whenever. And he's like, oh, okay. He's like, yeah. He's like, I'm just finishing up some work things. Keep in mind, it's a weekend. He's like, some work things that I needed to finish.
Yeah.
And in my head, I'm like, oh, like, were you not able to finish them earlier? And he was like, I don't know for what reason, but basically because of the weather and stuff, he had to like postpone some work things, and I guess he needed to do them. But in my head, I'm like, if you know you have this date planned in the afternoon, you would wake up early, get it done, whatever. So then he's like, okay, he's like, I finally finished up my work stuff. And I'm like, okay, cool, he's going to be on his way. He's like, okay, he's like, I'm going to hop in the shower. I'm like,
you
what?
didn't do that before,
exactly.
bro.
I'm like, you didn't do that before. And that's the thing too, like I had made a comment. I was like, hey,
give benefit of the doubt, because guys typically do get ready pretty quick. They just shower, change.
They should, but this man had already told me how he takes forever getting ready.
Oh.
So, and the thing is, I had made a comment like, hey, like I was like, we're not good just going to the rooftop bar. I was like, are we getting dinner beforehand? I was like, and I made a joke. I was like, I just don't want to be starved all day. Haha. Well, what happens? He starved me all day, because by the time he made it downtown to where I was at, keep in mind, I said 5. So by the time he finally messaged me back about I'm going to hop in the shower, work stuff, it's like 6-ish. He didn't end up coming to pick me up until like 8:30ish.
I was expecting 7.
No, like 8:30. So he did end up starving me.
Damn, so you built up an appetite till 8.
A bad appetite. So I'm like in my hotel, like I finished my matcha. I'm watching The Office. I watched the sun. So yeah, so this guy starved me. Like I said, didn't end up coming till like 8:30, which was awful. Cause I was like, great, like now I have appetite. Now I'm low key, high key pissed and stuff. And the thing is, like, he kept pulling out his phone during the day, and I'm like, hey, are you done with work? And he's like, oh yeah. He's like, sorry. He's like, I just had to confirm with my manager that everything was good. And in my head, I'm like, okay. And I will say, after that, once he like sent the last text, emails, whatever it was, he was off the phone like for the whole time. He did like drop quite a bit and stuff on the date because we did like dinner, rooftop. We went to like a couple other bars, arcade stuff. But like, not that that matters, but I'm like, oh, another thing. This man was so underdressed to the freaking date.
Oh my god.
I had Kim help me out with some outfits. It was still like a pretty dressy outfit.
This shows so much about how women really prepare for a date compared to a guy, bro.
Yeah, this man was wearing a t-shirt, some work quarter zip or whatever, some like skinny-ish type of jeans. They were tapered, and some like sneakers that did not go with the tapered jeans. And I was like, great. And then he makes a comment. He's like, wow. He's like, people really
dress up here or something.
God,
like that.
I just realized I was like, they're gonna be able to tell who it was.
No, they're
if
not.
They listen, but
you're talking about the guy.
Yeah,
that's fine.
oops.
That's
Oh
fine.
well.
Oh well.
Like, you know, I'm like, they didn't even compliment me, and I'm like, you were already late. I'm not gonna lie. I think I would have given some extra bonus points if he at least showed up with some flowers. Hey,
Question,
I'm so sorry.
Is this the same date where you comment about how like guys don't really dress up, and then the guy walked in with like a
Yes. So I was just telling this guy, I was like, low key, I'm such a jerk. I was like, I made a comment about, I think, him being underdressed. And he's like, oh, really? And I was like, yeah. I was like, low-key, that's my ick. And I was like, no matter what fancy place you go to, there's always going to be a man that has the audacity to show up in cargo shorts and a team shirt. As he's saying that, he's like, well, don't look behind you right now. I'm like, why? I turn around. Some man walks in, cargo shorts and a team t-shirt. It was like as if God was like playing with me.
Exactly. Like, here you go.
Yeah, at the rooftop bar. And it's so funny because like right before that and stuff, he's like, wow, he's like, people are really dressed up to this thing. Like, is that normal? And I'm like, it's a rooftop bar, buddy.
Literally. You're not going to wear a fucking polo.
Yeah, so. And even then, a polo was an upgrade from what he was wearing, unfortunately.
Yeah. But that was your worst. I mean, the date itself, then after, like, you being pissed, like,
but that's the thing. I think any date could go well because I think I'm like, I'll just take over. I'll just start talking about myself.
Dude, that's how I am, too.
Yeah. Not that I'm talking about myself the whole date, but I'm saying, like, I'll like, cater the conversation to where it'll be appealing to me.
I mean, your date sounds worse than mine. Mine probably was just a scam. But let's talk about what not to do on dates. And I'll tell you something connected to that.
Okay.
I really do not even just dates, just conversations in general. I think a lot of guys have this bad habit of they will like be talking to you but will answer close-ended. Like they'll give you nothing to work with, and so it forces us to have to basically lead this conversation to keep it going.
Gosh, yeah.
To keep the open like, dude, I was texting this guy, right? I had like found him on Bumble or whatever, and the thing is, like, he seemed really cool. I had like viewed his social media, traveled or whatever, and I would try to get conversations out of him. Like, let's say I'd be like, oh, what are you majoring in? Like, oh, I see you play soccer. He's gonna know who he is. I said, oh, you play soccer, how cool, right? Like, I know some of the guys you play with or whatever. And it would just be like, yeah, this is my major. Wouldn't follow up like, this is my major, this is why I chose it. Or, oh, what are you doing? It was literally just, this is my major. And I would have to keep following up with questions, but he wouldn't feed me anything. And like, show interest, bro.
Like, I don't know. I think for men, not generally. Obviously, some of them, like, you know, I've talked to some that they have really good back and forth.
I know.
Some were like, wow, you actually
I'm interested in.
And I'm like, you actually seem interested in what I'm talking about. Like, you have really good. I was like, wow, that was a really good question, and all that. So, I don't know. It's annoying when they just leave it at what you're answering because you're like, great, now I have to do another question, and at that point, it feels like an interrogation.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah. And
I want to say that maybe part of it is because guys are just nervous, but I don't know. Like, I could be nervous too, but I talk a lot. Like, we're natural yappers. I will say that. Like, if you let us, we could probably keep a conversation going for 3 hours plus. Like, we really could. But I just don't like it when a guy doesn't. It just seems like he doesn't care, shows no interest, and just like answers flat, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's what not to do. I'll tell you something else. What not to do that a guy did on a date with me. I think that he was just trying to say anything that would appeal to me, so I would be interested in him like a little bit more. So like, let's say he asked me like, what type of music do you like, and I would say like something like, oh, reggaeton, or these are the artists I listen to. I feel like he wouldn't follow it up by like adding more details, or just like, oh, like me too, like that kind of thing. Or like, what do you like to do on your free time? If I was like, oh, watch movies, like, I'm just saying like random shit. If I was like, watch movies, he'd be like, oh, me too. What kind of genre do you like? If I would be like horror, he'd be like, oh, I like watching that too. Like, it was never more. And it's like, bro, like, you don't gotta kiss my ass. Like, you can disagree with me, you know. And after that day, unfortunately, like, he was sweet. We had similar interests, I think. I don't know how genuine they were. I just never went on a date again because I'm like, you can be your own person. You know that. You don't have to agree with everything I say. So yeah, that's a one not to do. Like, be yourself, dude. Like, really, I know that's such stereotypical advice, but really be yourself. I would rather me not match with a guy because myself rather than if I matched with a guy and I wasn't myself. You know, I don't want to be stuck with someone being a fake version of myself.
No, exactly. And that's the thing too. I think like the difference is like what makes like the good banter, the good like, you know what, I'm actually kind of interested because like I don't know much about that and stuff.
Like if we agree on everything, then at the end of the day we're gonna we're eventually gonna run out of stuff to say then because we agree on everything, which is why we can talk for a while because there's a lot of stuff we don't fully agree with, which is kind of cool. You know, we give different perspectives. But man, what are things that you think a guy should not do?
Should not do on a date. Don't be late. Be dressed for the occasion. Like if you told a girl to dress up and you told her to dress up nice or whatever and she ends up wearing heels, don't take her on a trail hike or whatever.
Literally. Whatever. It has to make sense to what you guys are doing. Yeah, make sense
to what you guys are doing. Like,
don't
be on time. Be on time.
Yes. Do not mention your ex. I don't care who brings it up. I think you should just like stray away from it unless it's like relevant to the conversation.
Yeah, I think if it's relevant to the conversation, I think it depends on what context.
Yes.
Also, don't talk bad about your ex. I don't care if
that's an ick. I don't care.
I don't care if she set your car on fire. Don't talk bad about your ex during a date. That can come out later in conversation, but during a date, like it just makes major red flags start going off.
Especially when you're first meeting someone, it says a lot about them how they talk about their ex. I don't care how bad they did it. First impressions really do matter. If you're talking bad about them and being distasteful about them and just being just gross, I'm gonna be like, what if I do something small? That's how they're gonna talk about me. You know, it's like it says a lot about that person. Just be respectful.
Yeah. I think that would be good. Let me think. Maybe don't come off like think too much. And so that's another thing too. Like I've had guys where like after the first date they're like, hey, like I'd be ready to like make it official. Like if the date goes well, that is like a what do you call it? Like a fast track to getting ghosted, blocked, whatever. Like too much too soon. A guy literally
did that to me. Like we were just really good friends. I wasn't interested at all. I literally met him and talked for him for 2 days back to back, and the next thing you know, he went to my house and gave me flowers and my mom still roasts me about that to this day. She finds it so fucking funny. And I'm like, dude, no, it sucks because I wasn't interested, but it's like that's the quickest way to get ghosted by a girl is like you go into it too soon.
Yeah,
like,
you come on too strong. Yeah,
just chill. Like I understand that you're passionate, you're emotional, whatever. It's great. Chill on it. Hit the brakes a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. So if you go on a date,
there has to be a good in between. You know, you can't be too nonchalant because then the girl's gonna be like, you're uninterested. You know, there has to be that good back and forth. Show your interest, but also like, and I hate to be like, don't do too much, don't do too little.
Well, I don't want us to be hypocritical because I also just said be yourself, and if being yourself is going too fast, who knows? Maybe there's a girl that's into that. I don't know.
That's the thing, though.
Find a good balance.
Expressing your feelings, knowing how to do that, because I think you can express like, hey, I'm very interested in you, like. I think you can do that without bringing flowers and everything day one, you know.
And don't expect nonstop communication. Like, that's crazy, especially if you guys are just getting to... She loves that shit.
I love
She'll
that.
Be like, oh, my God, I texted him 15 minutes ago and he hasn't responded.
I'm at the hospital. Like, if my patients are calling and stuff, if nothing's not emergent, in the second, if I can, I'll reply to a text. So in my head, I'm like, I'm at the hospital working. Like, what do you mean you can't text me back in 2 minutes?
My thing is, I used to be such a good texter, but now that I feel like I have so much going on in life, I've become such a, what do I call it? A low something friendship?
Oh, you're like a low maintenance friend.
Yes, I'm very low maintenance as a friend. And I feel like even now it's translated over to when I'm trying to talk to a guy, that maybe at the beginning I'll like start talking to you like seguido, you know? Yeah. But after that, it's like, don't expect to talk to me every single day. I might skip a day or I might not talk as much. I would probably prefer more on the phone. I'm probably more likely because I can still do other stuff.
Yeah.
Rather than if I'm texting, I quite literally have to be still and like text. Like I can't do multiple stuff.
So, okay. On to Chisme about dating apps and stuff and like our generation stuff. Do you think most people will have to rely on dating apps, or do you think like our generation still has a good chance of for people to start
it depends. I feel like it depends if you're a social person. If you're more like
the thing is I'm a social person and I feel like I'm not out here meeting.
The thing is you've had dates, so like it's not that there's no hope.
Yes,
it's
but I'm saying they're through dating apps though, which
I don't think is a bad thing.
No, but like for example, I had an older coworker. He's like 40. He couldn't fathom that the guys I meet aren't out in like the real world. He's like, what? He's like, you're not meeting. He's like, guys aren't asking you out. Like, what? And I'm like, I was telling him, I was like, if I'm shopping at Trader Joe's, realistically, no single eligible guys my age are going to be
I wish they would. I feel like if a guy did, I'd be like, wait, he's different.
Yeah. But yeah. Or I'd be like, I might be thinking to myself, is he fruity? Like, oh. Yeah, I might be thinking that. Because I'm like, Trader Joe's, I feel like, is like.
You think? What if a guy just has like health issues?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like. That's what I'm saying. Most guys though aren't doing the shopping at Trader Joe's.
Right.
Yeah, I'm saying it'd be nice because then you know whatever you might see somebody there. But I'm saying like okay. I was telling him, I was like, okay, I go to Trader Joe's. I was like, at the time I was doing Pilates, I was like, I go to a Pilates studio. I was like, it's all women there exercising. I'm not gonna find them there. And I was like, and I do go to a normal gym, but I'm like, at the time, I'm like, yeah, guys are there, but I'm like, they're not necessarily
like your hobbies and activities are women centered.
The ones that are coming up to people, I'm not like the ones that came up to my friend, like they weren't people that that were her type at all. They were way older, shooting their shot at a 20-year-old.
Well,
yeah, so I'm saying like good for them. They had that confidence, but I'm like it wasn't the kind she wanted.
I'm gonna say an unpopular opinion though. Here's the real chisme about dating though. I think it is always worth it to shoot your shot, and I say that as someone who, at 22 years old, I barely got rejected for the first time ever in my life. I think it's always worth shooting your shot. What's that one quote where it's like you miss 100% of the shots you don't take?
Yeah,
I really do believe that, and I say that as someone's like sometimes you'll get a little nervous. I think I was more like fearless when I was in high school. Any guy would even be semi-attracted to you. I didn't care. I had no shame about it. It wasn't a bad thing. I would show interest, and if it didn't work, it didn't work. I didn't feel ashamed about it. Now being a little bit older, maybe I might think about it, but I'll still shoot my shot. There has yet to be a guy where I'm like, I regret not doing it.
And a comment too is like, okay, like my ex made a comment that like I don't know how much truth maybe it is to that. Like, let me know what you think. He was like, yeah, he's like, I feel like women have made it like, oh my god, men are so creepy. Like men just that he was like, I feel like that scared a lot of guys from shooting their shot.
Yeah. So
it's been blinking though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he was saying that he's like, because women have been so public about maybe like shitting on men or whatever. But he's like, I think it scared men from coming up to someone publicly.
Yeah.
And like I said, that could partially have some
but
truth
it's so unfortunate because I feel like they're not using their critical thinking skills. Whenever women are saying that they get creeped out, don't get me wrong, some women are definitely just doing too much.
Yeah.
But context is everything. When these women are saying that these guys are really creepy, yeah, sometimes you go up to a woman and you don't even tap her. You just start talking to her. Or like you get in her face. Like, be aware of how close you are to her, your proximity. That's weird. Be worried about how you approach. If you immediately go, you're so beautiful, like, don't open it with anything else. Of course a woman's going to get creeped out. You know, like, context is everything. So
that's the thing. People forgot what an introduction is.
Yeah, people I think forgot just how to like literally like, hi, how are you? My name's.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be creeped out if a guy did that to me. Like, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I wish that's a change that we could see in our generation if more people were willing to go up to other people first. Because I'm not being hypocritical when I say that. Me too. Like, I wish I could go back to being how I was in high school and be a little.
I was just about to say, I was like, guys are gonna flip the coin. They're like, why can't women come up to?
We can.
Guys? Yeah.
But it all comes down to what you want to do. You also can't expect the other person to do that. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't expect a guy to, but it would be nice to.
Yeah.
See what I mean? So that makes a difference. But I don't know. I think we've kind of gotten a lot off our plates. I feel like this was a little therapy session almost. But yeah, the rich chisme on dating is shoot your shot. If it doesn't work, I don't think it was meant to.
Yeah, shoot your shot. Be yourself. Don't be creepy and don't wear skinny jeans. That's the real takeaway here.
Exactly. So if you have any other advice, let us know. And we're going to see you on the next pod.
Yeah, and I hope everyone had a great Valentine's Day. And I hope everyone has good luck in love this year going forward.
And for the single girlies, better luck next year. It's okay.
What do you mean?
To be
it's still February.
Well, Valentine's Day already passed.
Yes.
If you care about the day, you should be loving and shooting your shot all year long.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a Valentine's Day,
you know what?
It's fine.
Romantic relationships aren't all there is.
Exactly. Platonic soulmates exist, and that's a conversation for a different day.
Yes.
But we can hope for next year, and guess what? It's fine. Your friends can be your Valentines.
Yep.
Being single is the worst thing in the world.
My mom was my Valentine's Day.
She was my Valentine.
Yeah, so
and I was nobody's, but it's okay.
Yeah. Well, good luck to everyone. Bye.
Happy late Valentine's Day.